franchise guys. With over 20 years of consulting and leadership experience, he's helped countless people identify and launch their ideal franchise opportunities. He's also built programs to develop young professionals, coached individuals in life and career growth, and invested in businesses himself. So he puts his money where his mouth is. What makes him unique is that he understands the transition challenge from multiple angles. He's guided clients from corporate careers, family members from the military, and aspiring entrepreneurs from all walks of life. He's here to demystify the world of franchise ownership and explain how his four-step process works and share why franchises can be an excellent fit for veterans and career changes. Welcome, Josh. I think I tried to get it all in there, but I may have missed anything.
Yeah.
I missed
Can
anything
you
there?
send that to me? That sounded real good.
That's going to cost a small down payment for writing fees.
That was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm Josh. Right now, I'm a franchise consultant. Basically, I'm partnered with over 700 different franchises. And so I take people through a 10, 15-minute call to trim those 700 down to, based off of who you are, what your goals are. I can trim those down to 4 or 5 that I think would be a great fit for you. You can really look at me like I'm a real estate agent, but for franchises. And I see Roy in the group. What's up, Roy Lopez? Working with him right now, taking him through step by step. But yeah, the fun thing is, and the great thing for me is, you don't have to pay me anything. The franchises pay me to do this, so I get to do this for free. There's no hard sells or anything like that. So essentially, if you want to look into business ownership, I mean, I've owned an ice cream shop, ice cream sandwich shop. Started that one, bought and sold that one for a profit. I've done online businesses. If anybody in here has done We Buy Houses, I did that one for a little while, but my need for something else came out of my wife having $150,000 in college debt, and I was just a lowly nonprofit worker. Most of my life has been in the nonprofit sector. So yeah, Joey Smith says I'm hungry. I connected with him on LinkedIn already. Yeah. So if you haven't yet, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to see if anybody out there has that entrepreneurial itch and wants a system that they can follow.
So
That's my basic. That wasn't as good as what Ernest said about me. I actually really want that bio. So just tell me what the down payment is, and we'll make that happen.
awesome. Hey, so what drove you to the franchise business? What got you into that market?
Yeah. So I was always in consulting, whether it's business or just life. So I had a nonprofit before COVID that was helping. I saw the need for young people going into college. People were spending $100,000 on a degree that they rarely ever used. The experience was good. They learned things, but if they knew exactly what they were going to do before they went into college, they were 80, 90% more successful. Spending money on something that makes sense and that can make the money after. The program exploded. It was called The Industry. We had a location that was getting started in Northern Ireland, South Bend, Indiana, Oregon, California, and Florida. Partnered up with IBM. Not a lot of young people know who IBM is anymore, but we were partnered with them, and we were just going crazy. It exploded. COVID took a lot of our main funders away, and with a nonprofit, it's a tough gig when you're trying to raise money and train a bunch of young people. So COVID took that out, and I found franchise consulting. Essentially, it's the same thing. It's what I'm really great at, but I get to work with people and help them be entrepreneurs, which is my favorite thing. If I had it my way, my parents were both educators. My dad was my principal to start, and then he wound up becoming my superintendent. My mom taught in an inner city school. My brother's a teacher. So there was no way I was not going to college, right? But if I had my way, I would have picked up a franchise early, used that money instead. And, when all my friends graduated from high school, or from college, I would have had 300K in the bank. But I didn't have it my way, and I didn't know what I know now.
As they say, hindsight is 2020.
That's right.
Yeah, especially I agree with the degree thing. I can't tell you how many people I see working in places where it's like, you got a degree in what? And now you're the HR person? Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Not take a shot at HR or anything, just an example.
Right, right.
I played plenty of shots at HR outside of that. So, I mean, you worked with obviously people with tons of different backgrounds. I mean, what's a common thread that you've seen among those who succeed in those career transitions, going from I'm doing this to a 180 pivot?
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Since I started getting into the franchise world, again, I have to say first, it's like 20% of businesses that aren't through a franchise, just kind of startups, will succeed. 90 up to 90% of franchises do succeed because the system is already there. The support is always there. I mean, it is just, you're paying for success. You're paying for a career and a business that has no limitations. It's limited only by you. The cool thing that I found about franchising is if you're really good at following systems and just following step by step, you have management experience or you're a leader, can build a team, generally I can say you will be successful. My favorite thing about being on this call, franchises are begging for military people. They always find that military people will do better at franchising. Hey, the system's there. I know how to build a team. You all have incredible leadership and team experience. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the military, and I talked about that. But that team building stuff, I played a lot of football. Got to play at state. My little hometown of Napanee, Indiana. Went to go play basically a basically a D1 football team. They had like 25 guys going to play D1 the next year, and I didn't have anybody in my senior class that did anything sports wise in college. I played a little JV basketball, but that was it. But we got to go to state. But yeah, that's my experience with that kind of a team. But with people who have a history, in the military, they have that relying on others, that team building. You are perfect candidates to be an excellent franchiser. So I had to get a hold of Ernest and be like, guys, this is a great opportunity, no matter what.
Yeah, this wasn't a case of me hunting somebody down. This was Josh reaching out, and I could see the sense in it. Especially, talk to me more about the rigid structure side of the franchise and why you see us fitting so well. Because I get it, but I'd like to have you elucidate that.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking why people from veterans will do better in franchising.
Exactly.
Well, you have a long history of taking orders and getting them done. You have a long history of just making sure things get done and making sure it happens. Is there a hand raised? Am I supposed to do anything with that, Ernest?
No. Yeah, as soon as you answer.
Oh, cool, good. And you also have a history with getting through tough things. I mean, that's the gist of it. I think anybody can raise their hand and be like, military was a pretty tough gig. If I can get through that, you can really do anything. And that's the truth. I actually have this tattoo perspective here. I didn't have the easiest life. Had a lot of crazy things happen to me. But if you have that right mindset, when you go through troubles and trials and tribulations, I don't know if anybody reads the Bible, but it came from James 1 verse 2, consider it joy whenever you face trials, because it makes you mature, and the word is perfect. If you don't have that mindset, then crap just takes you down. But with your experience, everybody on this call, with your experience and your mindset, I mean, 90% success rate in franchises with people like you.
I mean, the franchises have it all spelled out too, so it's like a part of the structure we're used to. Fall A, B, and C, and you're going to get D.
Right, and I was always told never partner with a friend or a family member, and that's true in business. If you are having a startup, there's creative differences. There's these kinds of differences, but what's cool with franchising is that it's all spelled out, right? So my wife and I have been married for 16 years. We distributed projects and the things that we needed to do around the house like super early on. The only thing we didn't distribute was who was going to fill up the ice tray, and so that wound up always being like, come on, fill up the ice tray, right? That kind of thing. With it's kind of similar to franchising. Here is the list of things that you need to do. You take those 5 things, I take these 5 things, and because of that, we have tons of father son franchises, and the relationship's still great. You know, hopefully that all makes sense. I can't see anybody. I have a hard time talking when I can't see if people are catching things, but I know you're getting
it. Hey, Keaton, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, hey Josh. I think a lot of people, might like me specifically, franchising sounds interesting or like getting into a franchise. But for me, whenever I think of franchise, I immediately think of like fast food, having to deal with like, high school kids as employees, which is like I have kids myself trying to get, 20, 16-year-old, 17-year-olds to show up on time or
Yeah.
whatever. It's tough. So with you and the franchise that you're partnered with, what percentage or how many of those are kind of in industries that either aren't fast food or I guess have like other people build careers in them rather than being like a stepping stone of like, hey, I'm doing a part-time job here while I'm going to school. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. So food is not a primary thing for me. I was in food service, didn't like it. Even though it was just ice cream and sandwiches, it was still a lot. Some people it is their bag, right? But so I'm only partnered with the food ones that I know would succeed, right? They're extremely vetted. But I mean, think of an industry. I'm partnered with a franchise in that industry. The might as well just talk through this. The three industries that I like to at least let people know of right off the bat: senior in-home care. Forbes magazine had an article on how, hey, if you're not investing in seniors right now, you might be missing out on a big thing, right? It's kind of like getting in on crypto early. With the baby boomers that are retiring and want to be at home, and within that senior care industry, there are tons of other industries, mobility, building ramps for seniors at their home, delivering food to seniors at their home, right? So in senior care, there's just so much to do there, and there's going to be so much business forever. Even if you don't like taking care of people, find someone that is, partner up. But there's also a lot of franchises that in senior care that you don't really even have to see anybody. My favorite, if anybody's also interested in real estate investing, what do they say? Like 90% of the richest people on the planet got there because of real estate. There's a franchise that you actually own the single family home, and I've owned a few properties myself, making 500 net a month. If I would have put 4 or 5 seniors in there from 7,000 to 15,000 a piece, you can kind of see where that goes. So now you're a real estate investor, also involved in the senior care. Second industry that I always like to promote is home services, right? So fence building, plumbing, roofing, electrical. But like you said, Keaton, how do you, even in the trades, right? How do you keep a good employee? Like my generation and below is not doing trades right now, So I always like to let people know of at least one company. It's called Conserva Irrigation. It's basically, you don't need any master electricians or master plumbers to be in this business. You just kind of need to be a regular person who, can do a little bit of sales, but maintain someone else's irrigation system. There's just an incredible amount of stuff out there. Third industry would be quick service foods, right? So anything without a bunch of tables where you need a waiting staff, like your smoothie joints, those types of things. Simple coffee, Ziggy's coffee, those are doing very well too.
Right
Keith,
on.
did I answer your question?
Yeah, perfectly. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. You
I
got
hadn't
it.
thought about I hadn't thought about the irrigation thing, but yeah, it's not difficult to figure out. I mean, a
Yep.
lot of it's just they're going to give you formulas based on where you're at, and then it's hooking the stuff up. It's not rocket surgery by any means, but
Right.
people like a green lawn. Hey, Roy, go ahead.
What's up, Roy?
Hey, what's going on, Josh? Good morning, everybody. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to just jump on and just be an advocate for Josh. We did set up a call, and he's literally just telling you guys everything that he's telling you. He's going to get to know you, want to know what you're interested in, things like that. And he's going to break down his franchises for you. So he did a good job with that. Some people have reached out to me. This is just something I was thinking about. I'm not I'm not even told Josh. It's just something I'm thinking about. I'm not sure when I'll pull the trigger or if I'll pull the trigger, but I definitely wanted to hear the opportunity for it. So then I actually told him about Seven Eagles. So, and
That
that's
was
what.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why he was here to bring you guys. So anytime I've had a conversation with people and I think that we can benefit from or somebody might benefit from, I put him on here for you guys. But he will take care of you. He will talk with you and get to know you so that he's not putting you on like a fast food, something that you're not trying to get involved in, something that you want to be involved in, that you want to start a franchise in. Like for me, it was cars. So he brought in a tent world, which is like, car tinting and possible car audio system, which is something that I really enjoy doing myself. So it was something that, that he's, trying to personalize for me. So I'm sure he'll do the same thing for you guys. So I just want to be an advocate for him, say that he's been good to me. So I'm sure that he'll do the same for you guys.
Yeah. And I want to also yes, it was Roy that told me about Seven Eagle. I forgot. I don't think I said that at the beginning. So props to Roy. Appreciate that. But yeah, absolutely. If you don't if you guys were to go through this process with me, there's zero pressure. I don't need you to buy anything. If it's a year or 2 years later, that's all I want. I just want to keep the relationship going until you're ready.
Cool. Hey, Shaquan, go ahead.
Good morning, Josh. How you doing today, brother?
Good morning, Shaquan.
Wow. So I just had a quick question. So on your LinkedIn, I just want you to just tap a little bit more into it. On your LinkedIn for 15 years, you did life, career, relationship coach. I wanted to know a little bit more about that because I always find that sometimes people's past they can actually bring out a better future for themselves because of the stepping stones and the milestones that were set prior to jumping into something. So that was just my question.
Yeah. So basically, you're saying how do people's history affect their future?
Yes, I wanted to know more about like what did you do for 15 years in that because it looks like your personal LLC. I wanted to know more about that.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't throw this out there all the time, but I was an inner city pastor for like 15 years. Um, so when it comes to like people having a hard time, some this is gonna sound terrible. The best car salesman was the kid who was selling drugs in high school. Like they just need to get on the right track. They know the system, and once they get their life put together a little bit more, so a lot of the students that I worked with in my I can't say little, but my little inner city town, I bought a house in the inner city and just started walking around. I met like every kid in that city in that first summer. But once you get someone like that with drive, I like to work with people who one had drive. If they didn't have drive, they had a plan, because you can work with those two things. You know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, I did a lot of. I don't know if anybody's in a relationship that needs help, but yeah, I did a lot of premarital like counseling and coaching and things like that too in my time.
Yeah, you definitely answered my question.
Okay,
Like,
good.
strangely enough, like I actually made a joke to my wife like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? And I was like, should I post this on LinkedIn? I was like, no, I'm not gonna post this on LinkedIn. I said that Pablo Escobar would literally be like a CEO of supply chain management. It all
Yeah.
depends on how you view it and how you want to
Right.
work it out in the path that you go down. Because we are really great at a certain skill set, but it depends on exactly where we're pushing that skill set to actually get the most out of it.
Yep.
But thank you so much for your time and coming to speak with us.
Yeah, it was great meeting you. And
Awesome.
hard
Hey,
times always make you do the right things sometimes. It's like we were in dire need of $2,400 a month just to pay off these loans. So I went out, started selling houses on the side, and paid it off in 4 years. It's crazy.
that's junk. Hey, Kamar, go ahead.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
Hi, Kamar.
Just a
Good.
quick question. Because I've thought about franchising is something, one of the ideas that I'm bouncing on with, and senior care was something I'm interested in. But I wanted to ask you right now, what franchise is there any franchise that you are invested in, and how is that working out for you?
Well, based on, my partnerships and things, I'm invested in 750 plus of them. But yeah, franchises, again, if you just follow the path, and especially in senior care, the 15 to 10% that aren't successful, and I meet with these people every day too. It's because there was, a death in the family or an illness, or someone just didn't wind up following the path. So while you're vetting other franchises, they're also vetting you. They don't want to just bring in anybody into their franchise, because it's a bad look on them, right? So that's why the success rate is so high. Does that make
Yeah, I'm
sense?
following. I'm following. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I can't think of even an industry or any of these partnerships that I have who have said, yeah, our franchisees don't really do very well.
Okay.
I've never heard that before. I do have a lot of people coming to me and say, hey, I got to sell my franchise. I got to get out. My wife is chronically ill. My kids are doing this. And so I sell those franchises to other people to help them get out of that bad situation as well.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you.
especially the senior thing. I mean, people are always going to get old. I mean, that is a repeating business. It's a little on the darker side to discuss, but hey, we're all going to get old and die. We're going to need some help in between there.
Yeah.
It's the death and taxes thing. But Demario, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, how you doing, Josh? I
Hey,
had a
Mario.
question about your thought process as far as upfront money for a lot of franchises coming from banks. What's your process in order to get that upfront money? I know FedEx in my area, the guy told me it was like a little over, uh, I think $14,000 or something like that to start their business franchise, and then a lot like Honey Baked Ham and a lot of different franchises, they have like a upfront cost that's
Yep.
required by the parenting company in order for them to start. And then also my second question is, uh, as far as real estate is concerned, is it a is that more of a start off as a hobby for you, or is that something that you just kind of did because you had to do it? Kind of like a boxer goes and fights because they need the money type deal.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So upfront cost, every franchise is going to have an upfront cost. If you look at this like it's, paying for college, right? I mean, not many times you're going to get into college without paying something, right? Unless you have an incredible, your payment would be the spending hours writing grants and getting scholarships. So there is an upfront cost. It can range from like 10,000 to 2 million, depending on the franchise. My philosophy, I love studying money. I don't love money, but I do need it. Sorry, my whole family's been sick for about like a week and a half. But yeah, there's an upfront cost, but that cost is going to, again, give you that 90% of success rate. It's going to give you that incredible support. It's going to give you those systems so you can be, profitable much faster. But yeah, it really depends on what brand you choose. And you asked me real estate, the hardship that, yeah, I bought my first house when I was 19. I went into college and I realized, hey, if I got two roommates in this house, I wouldn't have to pay anything for as long as they're living with me, right? I was a single guy, so I got two roommates to lock in first, and then I bought a house and I lived for free for 2 years for the rest of my college experience. Was able to sell that one at at you know at the market's high, which is great. One thing I want to bring up too is, first of all, I have a bunch of funding partners, friend fund. My line is I help people find, fund, and buy the right franchise, right, for them and for their goals and for their situation. So funding is an absolute blast just to find out how much you could get, especially in the franchise realm. People are more willing to lend money if they know it's a franchise because of the success rate. But one thing I always like to point out is the home equity, right? If you own a home, I was literally every day walking around on like $100,000 of cash inside my home, and I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm literally walking around on this home equity, and it's not making me any money. So that was a big, huge leap forward in my process as well, as just pulling that money and helping it making that money make me money. So there's a crazy amount of ways that you can fund your business.
All right, thank you so much. That was
Did I answer everything?
You did. The home equity part, me and my wife did talk about that because she wants to do a nut and bunt cake here in Jacksonville for the north side. But it's weird because certain franchises don't want you to be too close to the other franchises in that city. So it's been kind of an ordeal per se. But yeah, thank you again for your time and thank you for answering my question.
I'd like to introduce you to it's called the Peach Cobbler. They are exploding right now. If you're into the baking and all that kind of stuff, it's
so
awesome.
we did have one of those, and we had a what do you call it? A Mrs. Peach, something like that. It's like a ice.
Okay.
It's really neat. But they actually just shut down. So there are a lot of companies shutting down because the location managers or whoever's over the building, they're just going up in their rent as well. And then they're blaming it on the economy and all this other. It's just, it's a lot of stuff going on. So
yeah,
pray for Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Hey, so what are the biggest advantages of owning a franchise, and what are some of the most underestimated challenges, in your opinion?
The underestimated challenges. Well, it's a lot better. It's a lot better than starting fresh. I mean, a lot of people do. A lot of people, I've coached a lot of young people coming out of high school. Just go buy a power washer and start putting it out there. One of my other students, he was Coast Guard, came out with some major mental health issues. I was working with, he's one of my favorite success stories actually, but he was on the verge of suicide, and he remembered that I had an idea for his future. Called me up and he said, I don't know if I was just explaining to him, you seem more like an entrepreneur. How about you just go down to the lake and start, walking down the lake and saying and telling people you do landscaping. Started doing landscaping, didn't know anything about it, right? Started with one house, started doing the work with his shirt off. So the lady next door, it's like, hey, I got some landscaping for you. And by the end of the year, he had 2 employees, and they were just going all the way down the shore. He did very well for himself.
Yeah, that's some good advertising. Smart man. Hey, Carrie, go ahead.
Okay, so I was wondering, as well as Tim D, what are your thoughts on like the fitness area for franchises? He asked about Planet Fitness or Gold's. I was wondering about Club Pilates or like Pilates.
Sure. It depends on where you are, of course. And that's one of the things that I do is I research your area through my system and just make sure it would be profitable. It would be good for that area. But depending on where you are, fitness is always, there's a few brands that are specific to Pilates that I'm partnered with. That would be excellent. But yeah, fitness is always a big thing. People always like getting out of the house. Working out. Does that answer your question? I mean, there's so many, when somebody wants to be in fitness and they want it to be passive, I have my partner ready to go. It's kind of a newer brand, but it's the most passive business that I think I'm even partnered with. But it's, I think he has 1 employee, maybe not. He said he's going to be getting rid of that employee. He, hires out cleaning every night, hires this out, hires that out. So it's very basic. I think he's got 6 of them, and he rarely does anything with them. If you got a problem, call this number. If you got a problem, call this, it's incredible. But yeah, Pilates, got a brand called Spenga that does a few other things as well. But yeah, really, really great brands out there in fitness. One of my buddies, his name's David. He's got my last name. David Sabo from high school, came out of the military, bought a bunch of Planet Fitnesses. Recently, he actually just sold them all. For him, it was just, I actually don't know the reason, but he sold them all and went into firearms. And now I actually am a partner with his firearms company.
Well, guns are a lot more fun.
Yeah. It's more fun than running on a treadmill to me.
Yeah, same. Definitely way better. Can you walk us through the 4-step matching process? How do you guide somebody from, hey, I'm thinking about this, to holy crap, I just bought it?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, we'll get on the phone. I'll ask you a bunch of questions that Sabo and Sabo, we aim to please. Thanks, Jonathan. That's hilarious. It almost sounds like a lawyer firm, like a law firm. We get on a call. We just chat. I ask you a bunch of questions that don't seem important, but they really are to me. Then I would go do territory checks for your region. I would, search that territory, the region you want to be in, get those territory checks back. We'd have another call where I'd go through 3 or 4 different brands. I found that if you do more than that, it gets kind of overwhelming. But if you're a person that can handle it, I'll send you 6. I might send you 7 brands. Next step would be, if that makes sense to you, I would introduce you to the franchise developer for that brand in particular. You guys that have a call, they would invite you out to Discovery Day. A lot of franchises will actually pay for your flight to go to corporate, to the headquarters, and you'd meet the whole team, you'd meet everybody. And generally at that time, they'd ask you to sign a contract, but everything up to that point is free discovery for you. Just out there learning.
Yeah, the worst thing you can do is learn something about how these businesses operate and how they pop up. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
So are there any industries or specific franchise types that you've seen align especially well with vets? I'm thinking smoothies probably aren't the first thing that we would think of, but maybe like the gun thing,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, with franchising, most of the time people don't know about the industry at all. We had a guy who was in finances, connected him with one of our maid services. And he's like, I don't want to have a cleaning service. I don't know how to clean anything. He's like, no, you have a strong history of leadership and management and team. That's why you could expand this into 10 territories and be making, I'm not allowed to say how much you could make, but I'll just say 10 million in gross a year, right? And he goes, oh, okay. Went and bought it and is loving it. Is just having a blast. So when it comes to, having experience in certain things, the experience that you have is leadership, team, systems. I mean, those are really the 3 major things that for a successful franchisor. Yeah.
So for the people who are, saying, hey, I'm done having a boss. I've had a boss the last 8, 10, 20, 30 years. How's being a franchise being different than being an employee? Because, I mean, you're still falling under a lot of those boss rules from the franchise, but, what's the difference there that you see?
Yeah. So I'd say that's like usually the first step. You're buying a career, right? A lot of people say, you're just buying a job. So, well, yeah, that's the first step until you get territory 3, 4, 5, and all of a sudden you have an empire. But I've worked for people as well in the past. I like being in charge. It's a problem of mine, I think. But yeah, a lot of times it is just buying a job, getting out of that, then being able to invest into your own business and being able to take it to that next level. It depends on what you believe retirement is. I want to own my own retirement. I'd rather have 20, real estate, 20 rental properties that are making me, 8 to 10 grand a month and retire on that. I'm in charge of it. I'm in control of that. I don't even remember what the original question was, but I feel like I answered it appropriately.
That's the difference between being a franchise owner and a boss. That one.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the primary thing. When you're talking about a 90% success rate, that is better than job security right now. That's insane. So you're not just buying something to get away from a boss. You're buying security, right? People get insurance and pay a lot of money for insurance for that security just in case something happens. With franchises, you don't really have to worry about that. Just get into a recession resistant company. Like you mentioned earlier, there's always going to be seniors that need taken care of. That's recession resistant. Get into one of those, you don't have to worry about that, and you are in charge of your own future. That's the main reason I went this direction. Is being a business owner is your thing. You don't have to worry about someone telling you what to do all the time, and especially when you know that they're wrong, right? And then you go and tell your boss you're wrong, and then now you're without a job.
Yeah. I think we've all had those moments.
Yeah.
You mentioned you're walking around 100 grand in home equity. And that's how you're funding stuff. But how do you see people typically fund their franchises? Or are there some creative options that are kind of obscure that you've seen?
Yeah, that's something I forgot to tell you as well. One, this is based off what I said earlier, that franchises want veterans to be owning their businesses. That most, if I can't say all, most franchises give massive discounts to veterans. That's number one. Sometimes over 20%. That kind of tells you how important you are to the business realm and to the franchise realm. So how do people pay for it? A lot of people will even bring in a business partner, someone that just wants to be the money person. Had one of those last month. Just brought somebody in kind of last minute. It was like, hey, this guy's got the money, I've got the brains and the time, let's do it. SBA loans have a lot of great options. I need to continue to check things like that change. So I generally will send that over to my partner in finances. And so I don't want to say anything financially that has changed and get it wrong. And then everybody's suing me on this call. But yeah, so it's get a loan. There's a program called FOBs that's really cool. So it's basically, you're investing in your own investments with your own money. And I don't want to get into too much detail on that too, but my partners can talk to you about that. But home equity is a big one. People realize too, like everyone says, you got to have money to make money. You're walking around on money every day. If you got equity in your house. But loans, partnerships, very few just have cash that they want to drop on it. I'm a rich dad, poor dad book kind of guy. I want to use other people's money to make me money. Cash is king. If something happens, I always want to have cash on hand. But yeah, there's just tons of different ways. I've got a client right now she's taking care of her parents right now. And so she's working with them to go ahead and start her business as well with their money. So as long as they're in healthy mind, making these decisions, I support it.
Do you feel like
I agree, James? Rich Dad Poor Dad is a must-have collection for sure.
Yeah, use other people's money to make money where you can. I learned that a long time ago when I bought my first house. The agent I had was a pretty sharp dude.
Yeah,
it was a eye-opening for me once I started understanding how that shit actually works.
Right.
So do you see, like, a lot of times us as veterans, we kind of undervalue our leadership skills when we're moving into business ownership just because we take it for granted. We don't really give it much thought. We're always thinking
100%.
about, hey, the leader was the guy or the gal ahead of me with the extra stripes or the bird on their shoulder.
Yeah. One, who doesn't respect someone in the military? That's just what it is. Two, absolutely undervalued. I just told you there are discounts for veterans like crazy in this business, which is saying they're screaming for you. They're screaming for you. You don't need to know how to work on a car to own a car franchise. You don't need to know how to take care of an elderly person. to be able to be in a franchise. One of my favorites, for those of you who want to stay at home, it's called cruise planners. It's like 10 grand to get in, and I'll tell you, you can Google it so that I'm not telling you potential earnings, right? But if you Google, you'll find out how much someone can make in cruise and vacation planners from home for 10 grand. Again, if this is stuff that I wish I would have learned before I went off to college. It's crazy out there. But
what's the nuts and bolts of that work?
What's that?
What's the nuts and bolts of that work? Like what's generally what your function is?
Helping people plan their vacations.
Just like excursions, like the different things to
Yep.
see.
Yeah, they'll pay for you to go on cruises all the time, so you can get the idea, so you can help clients get on these cruises. It's crazy.
Yeah, the
Matthew,
cruise lines are
yes.
smart. They're gonna get you on there to recommend them and show you the best time too. So you get some free vacations out of it that you could probably write off, right?
Right. Just recently, if you're into cybersecurity, I just partnered with a cybersecurity franchise. It's the first, and I can't say the only one, but it's the first cybersecurity company to franchise. If there are, I've got a few laundry mats. That's a big cash investment, but really good return. If you love numbers and you want to hop into helping people, I've got a franchise that's very low overhead. It's one of the boring companies. That's been something that's been kind of going on the past 4 or 5 years. If you want to make a bunch of money, get into a boring company, handle someone's books. Simple, right? So bookkeeping, accounting.
ATMs probably.
What's that?
ATMs.
We have a bunch of vending options. Well, 2 vending options. If you want to get into the vending business, super simple. It's crazy. You want me to go through the list real quick? I'll make jokes between everyone I say so that we can keep it interesting. Education, tutoring, math, STEM, all that stuff. Employment companies. There's another big one too, is I have a list of resales. So if you don't want to start a franchise, I can get you into a turnkey franchise that's being sold right now. You'd have to go through the training and everything, but it would already be up and running. You would be able to see how much money it's already making, and then look at it and see how much money you could make. Fitness again is huge if you're in the right areas. We even have just a list of frozen yogurt and ice cream franchises. If you're in Texas, Florida, California, mobile units, you could just send these mobile units out everywhere. Hair care and beauty salons are huge. Beauty salons are great because one of my friends actually owns a salon in Indiana, and she doesn't cut hair anymore. She rents out the 8 chairs that she has around, kind of like an apartment complex, but for people who style hair. She just makes money off other people doing all the work. She just sits at home, comes in, hires a cleaning company, cleans it all up. But yeah, home services, maintenance is huge. The recession resistant ones are going to be a lot along the lines of the home services, restoration companies, fairly low over it. Thanks, Jose. But it's the ones that tend to make money the fastest are going to be your guy in a truck franchises, right? Low overhead, you buy a truck, you get it, they decal it all out for you, send it to you, and you're off and going. Robert, you got a question? I don't want to just read off a list.
No, you're good. I just
Okay.
My ears perked up when you said cybersecurity company that's franchising. Can you reveal the name here, or is that something we have to do like a one-on-one talk about?
As long as you come to me to talk to me about
I'll come to you with
let
an
me go and
offer
pull
you
that
can't
up here.
refuse. How about that? To quote the Godfather here.
Absolutely. I actually just went through that series like 2 months ago again. Yep, Cyber Global USA. But a lot of this is going to be more sales oriented. So even if you don't know anything about cybersecurity, you can easily jump into this.
Okay,
Yeah, but
thank you.
knowing something about
Uh,
cyber, though, that's just going to make you that much
yeah,
more effective too.
right. My favorite brand right now, and again, I don't want to tell you all the names because you'll just reach out to them and go through the process with them, and then you won't have the support of a franchise consultant. But it is really important because, I mean, you don't want to be signing on the dotted line without reading the item 19 in an FDD, you know? So a lot of times those things aren't really explained very well. There are franchises out there that'll just try to take your money, but they're not on my list because they're properly vetted. But there's a newer, it's an older franchise, but they
Well,
just
the other thing too is you're
implemented.
not.
Was that?
Well, the thing too is like you're not costing us anything in that, and you're getting advice instead of just the slam closed sale. So I mean, hey, you can certainly go and do it on your own, but
Right.
I'll take
I'd rather
advice.
do it right the first time.
Yeah, because it's an
Right.
investment. And I
Yeah.
understand have you seen somebody use a TSP loan as well to fund this stuff?
Not yet.
No.
I haven't worked with anybody that has had one of those.
Because I'm pretty sure that you can use it like under a 5-year term.
Okay. Yeah. One of my favorite brands right now is like a window cleaning company that just implemented drones to do all the cleaning. So, you got these big cities, they don't have to put up scaffolding anymore. So, it took a whole day to just put up scaffolding to get to these, levels. You don't have to hire any climbers. You just send that drone up, get the thing done in a day. These companies might even pay more, but their property's clean, instead of having it scaffolded up and a mess for 2 weeks. Paying less on insurance. You don't have to insure a bunch of people to go up and climb windows.
Dude's looking in the windows all the time. I guess that gets a little bit weird. So
Yeah.
I was looking at so what is the IFPG network help guide? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so that's the partnership that has the brands. That's the certification that I got was through IFPG. What I do is a blast. If you are resonating with things that I'm saying, I could connect you with them too, and you could hop in on doing what I do. Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. I get to be at home with my kids. My youngest has well, yeah, stay sick with them. My youngest has a rare disease, and so someone has to be at the house all the time just in case. So it's a perfect situation. So yep, much lower overhead. Well, not much lower, but lower overhead getting involved. But you'd be going through the training, you'd be getting certified. IFPG is we won again, top franchising consulting group in America. I think this is like 8 years in a row. But it's just they vet hard. They don't want to just let anybody in. But the money's there. It's a great situation.
Interesting. So, I mean, is there a way for somebody to kind of test the waters a little bit before they plunk the check down? I mean, have you seen any ways that somebody can go get a feel for that, or just go check out the local business, talk to the owner?
Get a feel for what?
For the franchise itself. If you don't have a X franchise near you, but you're thinking about opening up, is there kind of a way you've seen where somebody could test the waters, get a feel for it, speak with an owner? I mean, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah. So once you meet with the franchise developer, get as many questions answered as you can, you'll have the opportunity to collect it's called the FDD. And the FDD document will have a list of franchisees that you can call and ask them all the detailed questions. How long did it take you to get to net profit? How long did it do this? Would you do anything differently? The process is extreme. Like I said, when you're looking at a house, you're doing the same thing, right? You're looking at the floors, you're looking at this, you're making sure everything is set and solid. You're doing your own research. This is the same thing. But sadly, Rich Dad Poor Dad says that a house isn't an asset. I disagree, because I was flipping my own houses every 2 years. But yeah, it's when you use money to buy something that can make you a strong, honest living and build an empire, that just makes sense.
Yeah, it's certainly not the worst thing. So this is my last question. If you could give one piece of advice to veterans considering the entrepreneurship, whether franchising or not, what would it be? What would be your thoughts there?
My thoughts on whether or not to buy a franchise, is that what I heard?
Well, no, like, for us considering entrepreneurship, whether it's a franchise or not, any things that you go, hey, you need to be aware of this, going out in business.
Yeah, absolutely. I built a profitable ice cream shop based off of a $20 book that I bought. Start studying. It's all about that financial education. Again, if I had the education I have now, I would have bought a system for a business that would make me money at a certain, and have that knowledge instead of having the risk. I would have done that years and years ago. But yeah, I would say one, financial education, and you get that education by talking to me and going through the process. One of my clients didn't really even know what franchising really was. He knew about McDonald's, right, and Subway. So kind of teaching him the ins and outs of franchising, but he learned best when he went through the process and started talking to franchisors and started talking to franchise lenders. And I found with this little ice cream shop and this $20 book, I was having conversations with people with masters in businesses. They're like, how do you know that? It's like, I'm doing it. Sometimes the best education, I say sometimes.
Yeah.
For me personally, every time experience gives the best education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, getting out there and doing it. I cannot argue with that at all. Josh, it's been awesome.
Are you cutting me short, Ernest?
No, we're right on the time, man. I'm keeping on the clock. I'm paying attention.
Oh, we're good. Yeah.
So, hey, I want to thank you for coming out, dropping all this information, being open, honest, telling everybody about this. But do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to share before we take off?
Yeah, it was an honor to be able to be here with all of you. Seriously, this is awesome. Yeah, go live your life. Do your best.
And don't be afraid to look at working for yourself. I mean, that's Michael, hey, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate your candor throughout our session today. That was real nice to actually be able to communicate. We get a lot of folks on the call that maybe we still feel like we're present, but we're not really having the discussion with. And you help break down some of those walls. What was the $20 book?
That one was, I think it was called $100 Startup.
There was some people asking in the chat a couple times, and so we were wanting to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, I thought we had another question here before we go to going. Oh, so hey, Josh. Thank you very much. So Josh Sabo of the Franchise Guys, thanks for coming out, spending a little time with us, dropping some wisdom, and hopefully we'll see you again on here really soon. Anybody's looking to do this, hit them up. A conversation doesn't cost anything. In the meantime, I thank you all very much.
Connect with me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I've been dropping your link like crazy. I'll drop it one more time here. Yeah, I do that periodically through the chat to make sure everybody gets it. So you'll definitely have some new connections popping up today. I little doubt.